In the fog of war, goes an old and time-tested saying, the first casualty is truth. Few comments about the genocidal campaign launched against the Jews by Hamas reflect this better than Fox News anchor Shannon Bream's on-air statement that the majority of Palestinians do not support Hamas. Oh, Hamas is the elected government of Gaza, and has been so since the Israelis in 2005 voluntarily ended their occupation of what was even then a launching pad for unprovoked terrorist attacks on Jewish population centers, internationally recognized as war crimes. Has there been a Palestinian leader or protest in Gaza or the West Bank, or abroad, that has denounced the Nazi-like atrocities perpetrated by Hamas against Jewish women, children, and entire defenseless families on October 7? Is there a Palestinian Party that recognizes Israel or the right of Israel to exist? From its inception in the 1920s, the Palestinian movement has drawn inspiration from rabid Jew haters in Europe, and from Germany in particular. In the 1930s, the Muslim Brotherhood translated Mein Kampf into Arabic. The Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, the George Washington of the Palestinian national movement, was an ardent admirer of Adolf Hitler. When World War II broke out, he moved to Berlin where he recruited an Arab legion for Nazi Germany and laid plans to create an Auschwitz in the Middle East. When the State of Israel was created by the UN in 1948, it was attacked by 5 Arab dictatorships, whose rallying cry was, "Push the Jews into the sea." The campaign to destroy the Jewish state has always been a campaign to cleanse the Middle East of Jews the way the Nazis had attempted to cleanse Europe. Its rationale, free Palestine from Israeli occupation, is an easily disproven lie. Israel was not created on Arab land. It was created the same way Lebanon, Jordan, Iraq and Syria were created after World War II, out of the ruins of the Turkish Empire which had supported the Nazis in their campaign to exterminate the Jews. The Turks are not Arabs, let alone Palestinians, a national identity which did not exist at the time. The Turks controlled the land on which Israel and nations like Jordan were created for 400 years before the creation of the Jewish state. Jordan has a population 70% of whom identify as Palestinians. They are ruled by a Hashemite minority. There is no Palestinian campaign to free Jordan from its occupation by Hashemites. The Palestinian movement is a Nazi campaign to destroy the Jewish state and eliminate its Jews. This is the mentality behind the beheading of Jewish babies and the brutal murders of entire defenseless Jewish families. The actual invention of the Palestine identity for the campaign against the Jews took place several years after the creation of the Jewish state at the suggestion of the Kremlin KGB and the Egyptian dictator Nasser. They pointed out that, "Push the Jews into the sea," was not a political slogan likely to win allies and persuaded the Arabs around the Jordan that the creation of a national identity called Palestine would allow them to portray their murderous plans to kill the Jews as a resistance to oppression and a fight for self-determination. Palestinian is an invented national identity created for the express purpose of making the land between the river and the sea what the Nazis themselves called Juden Rein, Jew-free. Unfortunately, the world is full of useful ignoramuses who lap these lies up and support their Nazi agendas. Time equals 400 ms. Greater than the roots of Islamic Jew hatred did not originate with the Nazis, though the so-called Palestinians often refer to their goal as an attempt to finish the job that Hitler started. They actually go back more than 1,000 years to the Prophet Muhammad, who made this proclamation to his followers: "The day of judgment will not come until Muslims fight the Jews, when the Jew will hide behind stones and trees. The stones and trees will say, 'O Muslim, O servant of God, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him.'" This proclamation is quoted in full in the 1987 Hamas Charter, otherwise known as the Covenant of the Islamic Resistance, and accurately expresses the religious inspiration of the Nazi Jew hatred that struck the innocent on October 7, 2023.